Hello, sports fan. This is Stephen Hill for Sports Choice Plus. I'm going to be covering a very special topic. I'm going to be covering which coach has a better first season, Harbaugh or Dan Quinn. Before I get right into that, I want to make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel so you can get all the updates and all the breakdowns. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Coming from his position as a defensive coordinator from the Dallas Cowboys now to the head coach of the Washington Commanders, Dan Quinn has taken over a franchise that essentially was a last place team in the NFC East. And you're looking at, they had talent on the offensive side of the ball. They traded away a lot of their defensive talent, new ownership group, new management group. So from the standpoint, they're rebuilding, but they're closer to the team being competitive than they are the actual rebuild, like a brand new reset. And you're looking at Jim Harbaugh going to the Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers, that essentially have the quarterback of the future on their team. They have a couple of different defensive veterans on there that are high-priced salary guys. The team is looking at overall reshaping, resurfacing, and you got to think they're implementing a new culture to the team. So the question is, who's going to have a better season? This is going to be the first year with both of these franchises for these guys, and you got to think. Do we look at the Washington Commanders, and they're playing in a tough division, the NFC East, that has the Philadelphia Eagles, the Cowboys, and also the Giants. All these teams have made improvements in the offseason. You got to think from the standpoint, there are pretty good veterans on the Washington Commanders, both sides of the ball, from the standpoint of guys that potentially could be Pro Bowl players or all-pro players this season. Same thing I could say for the Chargers. What's it going to come down to? Is coaching style. I think if Jim Harbaugh, and I think in my mind he's going to be aggressive, everywhere he's going, he's been aggressive as a coach. Not only taking shots, let's just say for the 2-point conversion, let's just say onside kicks. He's always been innovative and willing to take risks to try to win and shake the dice up and gamble. When you get to a point where you are with Harbaugh, he's won a championship at Michigan. He's been to the Super Bowl. He's done a lot of things. So he has that in his pocket. He has those things behind him and say, okay, I make good decisions. We haven't really seen Dan Quinn do that. From the standpoint, Dan Quinn's biggest moment as a head coach is a failure. Getting to the Super Bowl and blowing that 28-3 lead against the New England Patriots is his biggest moment. So you got to think from the standpoint, all he's done with Seattle, all he's done with Dallas, and all he's done to help defenses get better, he hasn't really had his signature moment. Turning around the Washington Commanders franchise would be that. I think they're going to have a good season on both ends, but I think that when it comes down to it, Harbaugh has the advantage. Harbaugh has the advantage because his quarterback is that much better. He's already a 4,000, 5,000-yard passer a season, and I think that offense is easier to pick up and go from where they want to do because they're just implementing running the football a lot more. I think Dan Quinn has a culture change. I think they have to have everything to where it's a certain standard. Veterans have to reprove themselves. And you got to think the offense is unproven from Dan Quinn. So we don't know what we're going to be seeing from that standpoint. Cliff Kingsbury has had a pretty good track record at running things back in the past. But you got to think, do you really trust that from that standpoint? You know, is everything going to click and hit on all cylinders? And you got to think, you're breaking in a rookie quarterback. So it's so many different things, so many different questions, so many different options. But the easier, clean-cut answer, Jim Harbaugh is going to have the better season. I feel like when it's all said and done, he has opportunities in a softer schedule, and he doesn't have the rigors of an NFC East. Even though you got to think the Eagles 2 times a year, the Cowboys 2 times a year, how many times are you going to win in those situations? You could go 1-4, you can go 0-4, you could go 2-2, but those are playoff teams. You know, from the standpoint of going out and playing with the Chargers schedule, you don't have as many tough teams on that schedule as you do. You have the Chiefs 2 times. Las Vegas doesn't have a quarterback. So you got to think it's a little easier holes being poked into the schedule when you look at the actual teams itself and the development, so that every team's not where they want to be now. So there's more easier shots to take for the Chargers than it is for them. So I'm big in Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers. I think they're going to have a great season. I think both these teams will have a pretty solid season, but the one that's going to have the better first season is, of course, Jim Harbaugh. So all you Chargers fans, all you Commanders fans, get in the comment section below. Definitely check out Sports Choice Plus. We'll see you in the next video.